Good morning. This should look familiar because this is a picture of the place value chart that we asked you to add into your notebooks the other day. I'm going to do some work on this place value chart with you, and what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at what happens when you move from one place to the next. Okay, because we talked about how when you put a digit in a certain place, it has a very specific value, and if you move it to another place, the value of that digit changes. So if I were to take the digit 3, sorry guys, and move it over here to the ones place, okay? Right now it's worth 3 ones. But if I were to take the digit 3 and move it to the tens place, now it is worth 3 tens, which is 30. And then in order for that to work, I would have to put a placeholder in here, which is a 0. Okay, so zeros are our placeholder. And what that does is it makes it so the 3 stays in the tens place. All right? Because if we were writing it, if we just wrote 3, it would just be 3. So we have to put the 0 there to show that the 3 is now in the tens place. So the 0 is our placeholder. So we have the 0 as our placeholder. And what we need to look at here is how did the 3 change going from here to here? Well, the 3 changed from 3 to 30, and it was because we multiplied the 3 times 10, because 3 times 10 is 30, okay? Now, place value, you could say, well, maybe you just added 27 to 3 to make 30. You could do that, but there are patterns to place value, and what happens is to go from one place value to the next, you multiply by 10. So every time you multiply something by 10, it goes up to the next place value. So if we were to take that 30, that 3 that's in the tens place, and multiply that by 10 again, that 30 is now going to become 300. And again, we would need to put the zeros. Now we'd have to have 2 zeros as a placeholder, okay? So that 30 jumped once to the tens place. We multiplied it by 10, okay? And then we moved it again over. We multiplied it by 10 again, and we multiplied it by 10, and it ended up in the hundreds place. So every time we multiply a number by 10, it goes up one place in the place value, okay? So let's say we have the number 349, okay? So we have 349. If I multiply this by 10, okay, the whole number is going to move to the left because it's going to get bigger. And as the number increases, it moves left. So what's going to end up happening is that I am going to take it and move the 3, the 4, and the 9. All the digits of my number are going to have to move to the left when I multiply that number by 10. So everything moved one place over. So every part of that number got multiplied by 10. So the 9 was in the ones place. We multiplied that 9 by 10, and it ended up in the tens place. The 4 was in the tens place. Because we multiplied the number by 10, the 4 got moved to the hundreds place, and the 3 was in the hundreds place. Because we multiplied that number by 10, the 3 is now in the thousands place. So every time we move up a place, we're multiplying by 10. And now I need a placeholder down here. So that works the whole way up the place value chart. To get from one place to the next, you have to multiply by 10. Okay? So to get from thousands to 10,000s, to get from 10,000s to 100,000s, to get from 100,000s to millions, every time you move up a place, you're multiplying by 10. So if you've already noticed, and we're going to talk about this later, so if you haven't noticed, we're not going to worry about it. But if you move up 3 places, you're going to multiply by 10 3 times. So every time you move up a place, you multiply by 10. So if you move up again and again and again, you keep multiplying by 10. So I'm going to pop a new number in here. I've got 8,433. I gotta have a comma. It's not a very good comma, but there you go. I'm gonna add a comma in here. So now what I'm gonna look at is I'm gonna compare two numbers. I have 2 3s, but these 3s are not the same value. This 3 is worth 3 1s, and this 3 is worth 3 10s. So what I want to know is how much bigger is the 3 in the 10s place than the 3 in the 1s place? Well, because I moved up 1 place, that 3 in the 10s place is 10 times bigger than the 3 in the 1s place. But now we're going to do the opposite. And I want to know what the relationship is with this 3. So this number 3, how does that compare to this one? Well, if I move backwards, I do the opposite. So instead of I'm multiplying by 10. If I move backwards, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to divide by 10. And dividing by 10 is the same as finding 1/10 of a number. So if I move backwards from here to here, and I compare these two 3s, this 3 that I circled is 1/10 the size of the 3 in the 10s place. Because in order to get from the 10s place back to the 1s place, I have to divide by 10. Your problem of the day. I would like you to go ahead and work out the answers to these two problems and have them ready on your whiteboard to present during the Teacher Center. Go ahead and pause the video now while you find your answers.